So good morning, everybody. I'm here in rainy, cold Cortez, Colorado. So this morning we've got rainstorms and thunderstorms rolling in. And so I'm going to be mostly stuck inside the Airstream today. So I'm actually going to do a couple of videos. The first video that I'm doing right now, us talking to each other, is a hot topic for RVers. It's mobile data, unlimited mobile data, and also a pet peeve of mine that not a lot of people talk about: the size of mobile apps and software updates for your computers when you're out full timing. It's an absolute nightmare. So I'm on Verizon's unlimited business plan right now. So I get unlimited data, but if I use too much tethered data, if I hook my hotspot, which is my iPhone, to my computer, and I go over 10 gigabytes of data on this plan hooked to the computer, I start getting throttled. In other words, they start slowing me down. So that's the plan I signed up for. There are all different types of unlimited data plans out there. A lot of them, they do throttle you at some point, so they slow your network down, which is a royal pain in the butt, right? Um, you'd like unlimited data to mean unlimited data, and I understand that. The bigger pain in the butt, because 10 gigs a month, if you're traveling around and working, 10 gigs a month, that's not horrible. You can live within those constraints. But it's not great either. It's not like being at home and being hooked up. So wireless data still has some limitations. One of the things that really bothers me when we're talking about data for highly mobile people like RVers, like myself and like you, um, the apps for our phones and the apps for our computers, they have gotten ridiculously sized, and I mean ridiculously. So I'm going to be looking down at the phone here because I just want you to see this. So I've been on the road for almost 2 weeks. I've done updates previously, but I'm just looking at my app store because I have got this notification that I've got 14 apps to update. So I need to see what's going on here. So my updates, I have DJI Go that was released today, and apparently it's a bug fix. I've got Discord that was released yesterday, Dropbox yesterday, Filmic Pro yesterday, Google Maps yesterday, LifeLock yesterday, Instagram 2 days ago, Layout for Instagram 2 days ago, ZY Play for recording on my phone 2 days ago, YouTube 3 days ago. You're getting the idea. I've got a lot of updates, and so I'm going to do them here this morning. But before I do the updates, I want to total these up with you. What do I mean? I want to know how big these are, how much of my data I'm going to use if I'm not hooked up to, let's say, an RV park's Wi-Fi. So if I'm out in the field, I'm out boondocking, let's say we're hanging out in Borrego again. All right, so and I'm going to total all this up. We're going to slide through it together, but I'm not going to kill you with me sitting on the calculator, but I am going to record all these. So as you can see on the first one, the DJI Go 4 or the DJI Go app is 382 megs. All right, we're going to take a time out here from the video part of this, and I'm going to go ahead and total all of these up, and then we'll be right back together. All right, so we stopped the camera for a minute so that I had time to actually total up my updates. So I just totaled up all 14 updates. So how much bandwidth am I going to use to get these updates? Let me look over at my computer. 1 gig, 387 megabytes. So 1.4 gigabytes of data is going to be used in order to in order to do all these updates. Now, let's go back to bandwidth and unlimited data. So if you are on an unlimited data plan that does limit you at some point, so unlimited, but at some point you're going to hit a throttling wall where they're going to slow you down. What I'm looking at here on my phone over the course of 3 days. So most of the items here were within the past 3 days. We're looking at 1.4 gigabytes. Now, a lot of the unlimited plans out there that throttle at some point usually start throttling at about 10 gigabytes. So in a 3-day period, my updates total 1.4 gigs. So let's just extrapolate that. Let's say a month has 30 days. And in a 3-day period, I'm going to use up 1.4 gigabytes. So that means that I'm probably going to do that 10 times in a given month. So if we do that 10 times in a given month, 1.4 gigabytes times 10 is 14 gigabytes. If you are on a plan that throttles you after 10 gigabytes, just doing your smartphone updates is going to push you over the plan. We're not even talking about, hey, I want to watch Netflix. Hey, I'm uploading some photos to Facebook to show my friends where I am. No, man, these are just the updates for your smartphone. And we haven't even talked about the updates for your computer that you might have along with you. This morning, I had an update for Final Cut Pro. That was 121 megabytes. So tack that on there. I got 1.5 gigabytes of updates to do today. Crazy. So here's what blows my mind. Back in 2002, I bought my first iBook. And at the time, in 2002, that operating system was not even a gigabyte. For the most recent update on my MacBook Pro and my iMac, those updates were in the gigabytes. And I'm getting them regularly. So what I'm saying here, for highly mobile people with unlimited data plans that aren't truly unlimited, and there's a throttling point, and we all hit the throttling point at some time. Our mobile apps on our phones can be enough to completely wipe out over 10 gigabytes of data. You look at our computers, and if we've just got a software update, small software updates are in the hundreds of megabytes. Standard updates lately seem to be in the gigabytes. So if you've got to do this once a month, you're going to be blowing through your quasi-limited data plans really fast. One of the solutions is, of course, waiting till you get to an RV park that's got good Wi-Fi and getting those updates done. Like today on this phone, I'm going to be hooking up to the Wi-Fi here, and I'll be doing those updates over the Wi-Fi because I don't want to get throttled. I want to save my data for when I'm in locations that I can't hook up to a park. And so when I'm working from the road, I'm uploading, I'm putting photos up, I'm putting these videos up. My average YouTube videos on the upload are 700 megs. So if I were to do 5 or 6 videos a week, in that first week of uploading to YouTube, I would get to my throttling point on my tethered data. So I can serve my unlimited data, my tethered time, for when I'm not in a park that is offering me Wi-Fi. Bottom line, if you're traveling and you're working full-time from the road, you've got to keep a really close watch on your data plan to see when you hit that throttling point. If you've got a truly unlimited data plan that doesn't have a throttling point, I'd really like to know about it. I'd really like to see that your service speed doesn't slow down after a certain point, because even if they don't say that they're going to throttle you, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get throttled. So the big pet peeve today isn't so much about what an unlimited data plan is or isn't. The big pet peeve for me is the fact that these updates for our smartphone apps and these updates for our computers are getting into gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of space. Now, looking back at the iBook, looking back at early OS X, we were doing operating systems that were 100 to 200 megabytes, not 5 gigabytes. And what we're gaining are, so they're making faster and faster computers, but they're making bigger and more cumbersome software that doesn't need to be so large and cumbersome. Photoshop a decade ago, you could do all these great things with it. and it was much smaller. Photoshop today is a massive installation, and while it includes some new things like 3D and other little toys, the basics of what we all use Photoshop for are the same. Why did this program get so large? Why is it as we're creating bigger and bigger storage that the software vendors are finding ways to just make their applications bigger and bigger? They don't do anything, or they might improve a little bit, but the improvements are taking up so much space. The improvements are small compared to the space they're taking. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's what really gets me riled up. When I see that I have to download 1.4 gigabytes of updates for my iPhone in a 3-day period since my last major updates, that is absolutely ridiculous, and it's wasting our bandwidth. The app developers and the programmers need to come back to the basics. Stop developing oversized, top-heavy software applications that don't really do anything different than the software applications from 5 or 10 years ago. You're making your applications huge, and you're not delivering enough value in making them that huge. At this point in time, I love Adobe Lightroom, but you want to know something? I want to go back to Lightroom 4. It was a much smaller application. It did almost everything that the new Lightroom does today. And it was in a much more compact package, and it ran a lot faster. It ran a lot faster on a much slower computer. So I've got this super fast computer sitting next to me, and Lightroom today on a faster computer runs slower than Lightroom 4 on an old, slow computer. So they really need to rein it in. Developers need to rein it in. And for those of us who are super highly mobile, you've really got to keep a watch on your updates. You've really got to make sure that these guys aren't screwing your data plan before the month ends while you're trying to work and travel and work on the net from the road.